Welcome to Talkin' Mets with Rob. Subscribe to the channel for all your New York Mets in-game live, pre-game, post-game, roundtable podcast, and all the breaking news for our New York Mets. Enjoy the show and let's go Mets.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another Mets Postgame Show right here on the channel. How is everybody doing on this Monday night? Another spring training night game as we head closer and closer to opening day, as we are just technically, you want to call it 17 days, but the night's kind of over. So 16 days until opening day in Houston. Can't wait. I'm excited. We'll be there in Houston. But today, what a lot of good performances that we've seen today. This lineup is very similar to what opening day might be for the New York Mets. But some good performances here as we've seen Starlin Marte make his spring training appearance. And good job by Mets fans giving him a nice ovation. Again, it's just amazing. Marte probably hasn't swung a bat in a while, probably hasn't doing much. And what does he do his first time at bat? Gets a basic, gets a double. It's just, Marte's a hitter, man. I love it. I know my boy Chris is not the biggest fan of Starlin Marte. Could hit or miss, could have him off the team and trade him for all that matter. But I still feel like Starlin Marte is going to have a key role on this team, even if it's playing once or twice a week, DHing every now and then when there's a lefty on the mound. I think the Winker-Marte combination at DH, depending on what happens with Nimmo, is going to be a good combination, even though I'm not the biggest fan with the platoon DH, but it seems like it would work a little bit better with two guys like Winker and Marte. I don't know why I feel like it would work, but it seems like it would work. So good job by Starlin Marte today, getting in a game, getting a double in his first at bat, which, again, I'm not shocked at all because this is what Marte does. He's a pure hitter. Even though he's hurt for most of the time over the last two seasons, he still finds a way to hit when he has an opportunity to hit. So make sure you hit on that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Again, it gets redundant with spring training games. You know, you get between 4 to 5 innings of the main characters in the lineup, and then it's kind of like, all right, let's see what pitchers are going to still be in this game that we care about. And look at today, right? Cannon, Stanek, Brazaban are probably the three guys that you want to see and see how they do. But let's go with Griffin Cannon. What an outing from Griffin Cannon. 55 pitches, 3 2/3 innings, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, no runs, no walks. Very good outing for another guy that is looking to make a rotation spot in the rotation. And as of right now, your fourth hit rotation pitcher right now is probably going to be Paul Blackburn. So if they're going with a fifth-man rotation, which I think they're going to do at this point, until they need a sixth-man probably in the middle of April, if they go to it at all, the fifth spot is up for grabs. Right now, Tyler McGill has been probably – I guess he's been okay. Griffin Cannon, I think you have to rate them. Kranick has been the best. Second has been Griffin Cannon, and then Tyler McGill is third. I think it's between Griffin Cannon and Max Kranick, to be quite honest with you. But we all have to remember, money comes into play here. As much as Max Kranick is probably my choice and Chris's choice and many other choices that are Met fans that Max Kranick should get the nod. He's pitched better than all of them. Griffin Cannon is making $4.5 million. The Mets gave him $4.5 million. I don't think necessarily to be at the time with no injuries, he was going to be a depth piece. I wonder if that has something to do with maybe Griffin Cannon having to be pushed into this rotation as a fifth starter. But if they're just going on pure stats and who's pitched the best, Max Kranick has been the guy. I think Max Kranick should get the nod over Cannon and Tyler McGill, but we'll see. There's still 2 weeks of spring training baseball, and these guys are going to get 2 more starts at the very least. So right now, Kranick, I think, is in the lead. It can change over the next 2 starts. We shall see. Hopefully everybody remains healthy, and then we can talk about getting into a season preview that me and Chris will be doing the day before, or either the 25th or the 26th of March when we do our season preview. We're going to give our lineups, project our projected lineups, our win total, our NL East predictions, and our rotation predictions as well on how we're going to situate our rotation. But even though the rotation is kind of mostly manager related, and we'll know right away by the end of a few days before opening day what the rotation is going to look at 1 through 5. But we'll give out little predictions on that as well. So make sure you look out for the season preview link that will come up in the next 2 weeks or so. That's going to be a lot of fun. I love doing the season preview because we project win totals, and that's always fun. As me and Chris were very close to what the win total actually was, even though a lot of people didn't think so. But this year is going to be very interesting because some people, based on the rotation, based on the roster as a whole, I think the fluctuation in numbers, and of course, when we're doing that show, all you guys that are going to be in the chat during that live stream are going to give obviously your win totals as well. And I wonder how different it's going to be. I wouldn't be shocked that there might be a few people that might have under 90 wins, but most people I think are going to have under 90 wins. But again, health is at an utmost importance here over the next 2 weeks because that could change a lot when it comes to win totals. So the season preview, look out for that, guys. And of course, the last couple of pre-game, post-games that we're going to do for spring training. I'm ready for real baseball. It gets redundant. It gets boring after a while, but it's still nice to see a lineup that it kind of could be the lineup on opening day, because if you really look at it, Framber Valdez, who is a lefty, is probably going to start on opening day for the Houston Astros. He's a lefty, obviously. So you might see a lineup similar to this on opening day. Maybe Winker, depending on if Brendan Nimmo's playing or not, this might be the opening day lineup. If you look at it, it's lefty, righty, righty. It's righty, lefty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, righty, lefty, righty, righty. So you see what they're trying to do here. They're trying to split up the lefties a little bit and split up the righties as well. This might be the opening day lineup just based on matchups as of right now. And who knows with Brandon Nimmo at this point, as they're pushing his timetable back a little further, which is not shocking at all. Again, when you get a gel injection, which again, if you were on the post-game show yesterday on Chris's channel, I said this is a gel injection that basically provides cushion between the two bones of the knees, in between, to provide cushion so the bones don't interact with each other and grind on each other. So I don't see how that would only be a 48-hour, therapy or rest-in session. I think it's going to be a problem, and who knows if Brandon Nimmo's even going to make the opening day roster. They might put him on the IL just to get a roster spot available and bring somebody else in here. So with that said, let's get into it a little bit more. Ryan Stanek struggled. He's just 2 1/3 innings, 2 walks. Again, he's a guy that can be a little bit wild, but again, he's going to be a mainstay in his bullpen. Probably going to be a 6-7 inning guy for sure. And obviously with AJ Minter, if he's going to be available for opening day and start the season with us, he's going to be our bridge to Edwin Diaz as the 8th inning man, the setup man. And we'll see if Diaz can get it together a little bit more. He had a couple of strikeouts yesterday with a couple of walks. But Yoasker Brazaban, 2 hits, an inning, 1 earned run. I didn't put that run there, but it was 8-1, not 8-0, but that's okay. Nobody cares about the score in spring training. So let me just check out the chat in a second, guys. So we got Nicholas Explosive, Stan, we got Brad, Ethan, Daniel, Ken, Stanley, Sanders. Who else we got? We got somebody else here. Omar, there you go. I know I saw somebody else. Who else? And that's who we got so far. So good. So make sure you hit that like button, guys. And I'm just going to look at the chats a little bit. Good. People are talking about the Yankees and Garrett Cole. Again, he's pitched what? Not a lot. 95 innings last year for Cole, and is going to miss the entire season this year. And then go figure, right? People were talking about Stroman not even being part of that rotation. Now he's going to be the number 3 starter in that rotation. Again, the Yankees are dropping like flies. You got Stanton, you got Cole now, and also you had DJ LeMahieu. And when Rodon is a hit or miss, you got Max Fried, who is a bulldog. He's a really good pitcher, but he also had arm injuries the last 2 seasons. He made a ton of starts. He pitched well, but he also had arm injuries last year as the last 2 seasons as well. So they need Max. If they get one more injury, they're very much in trouble. But again, this ain't the Yankee channel, but it is. Look, I never want to see people get injured, regardless if it's the hated Yankees, Phillies, Braves. Like, Jerks and Profile got hurt the other day, but I think he was trying to make a diving catch and he hurt himself. I don't like to see injuries, so by anybody. But it's unfortunate, but it's baseball. It just is what it is. So what can he do? Yeah, and Luis Hill as well. It's amazing. Look, you got to get through spring training as healthy as possible. And remember, the Mets lost two starters early in spring in Montas and Manaea. So, luckily, and then we had the Alvarez injury yesterday, which sucks. But keeping everybody else healthy is the goal right now. You have to, I love the fact that these guys are playing and this lineup looked good. This lineup can be potent even without Francisco Alvarez. Jeff McNeil had a double today. Luis Torrens, who I think is going to be better than a lot of people think offensively. He does have a little bit of power, and I think he's going to be good playing every day and getting at bats, to be quite honest. It's amazing that we have a backup catcher like Luis Torrens. He is probably one of the better backup catchers in baseball. It's that good. So I don't think we might miss a little bit of power from Francisco Alvarez, but I don't think we're going to miss much at all with Luis Torrens, to be quite honest. He's a better defensive catcher. He throws runners out better. He picked off a guy today from first base, throwing behind the runner. He's a damn good catcher, so you're not losing anything defensively. He throws out runners better than Francisco Alvarez. He's not going to hit for power better than Alvarez, but he's going to be fine. And I think we could do a lot worse than Luis Torrens. Dealing with Omar Narvaez and Tomas Nidos of the world. It was, oh, God. So, Luis Torrens, it's nice to see. Jose Siri got a hit today as well. Vientos hitting a 2-run homer. Again, the wind was blowing out the right field, which was crazy today. It was like 20 miles an hour winds to right field. Juan Soto went 2 for 3. He hit a double and a home run, 2 extra base hits. Another good sign. Again, Juan Soto, 3 home runs in spring over not even a month of spring training. It's like 2 weeks of spring training, 2.5 weeks of spring training. So good to see Science Fernandez. It's going to be a very quick post game today, guys, about 20 minutes or so. So get your questions, your comments, your concerns, and all that stuff. Yes, Griffin Cannon did look good. Again, I still think because of the money he's making, and they gave him $4.5 million to be basically a depth guy. I think it's going to be between Griffin Cannon and Max Kranick. I want it to be Max Kranick, but again, both of these guys are going to still have 2 more starts before opening day, before the decision has to be made of who's going to make the roster and be the 5th starter in this rotation. I want it to be Max Kranick because I think Griffin Cannon has good stuff, right? The reason why he has not he had a ton of injuries over his couple of years with the Angels. And last year was his first healthy, really season where he made all his starts. He just didn't pitch well. He talked about it when they spoke to him on SNY. He likes the pitching lab. He likes all the technology they have that they've been using. And he hopes some of their different medical techniques can keep him healthy. He can be a good pitcher. I would not be surprised if Griffin Cannon ends up being the 6th starter in this rotation in the middle of April when they go to a 6-man rotation. So it's going to be good. Yes, Sanders, I don't know if I want to see Max Kranick in the bullpen, to be quite honest with you, because when the Mets tried to do that last year, he kind of got hurt. And I think he's a starter. There's some guys that are just starters. And the transition to bullpen just doesn't work for them, right? The ramp up quickly to get warmed up. And some guys, when it comes to Kranick, guys like Kranick, but there's some pitchers that are effective when they use all their pitches. Sometimes it's hard coming into a game out of the bullpen. You can use all your pitches because, when you start a game, you can play around with your pitches a little bit. When you're coming in crucial situations in a crucial inning, or with runners on, you can't be playing around with your third or fourth best pitch. You got to stick to your two best pitches. I feel like Max Kranick is a guy that I think can be more effective using all of his pitches. Now, again, am I going to cry, if Kranick becomes one of the long men in the bullpen? No, right? It could be worse. But Max Kranick can definitely be a guy that I think is going to be the fifth starter, in my opinion. Anthony Gose has looked good. I think he's going to be the depth piece in the bullpen, to be quite honest with you. I still think they're going to put Tyler McGill as the long man in the bullpen if he doesn't make the rotation. But I would like to see like a guy like Anthony Gose, guys like that, even Griffin Cannon. I don't think they're just going to be necessarily go down to the minors. I think whoever doesn't make the rotation, those other two pitchers are going to be the other option as a long man in the bullpen. So, 2 out of the 3 guys are probably going to make the opening day roster. So we'll see. Rob, let's talk about how Soto is underpaid. Yeah, let's get easy. Right? I think Juan Soto is going to be perfectly fine. Soto is going to be Soto, but I'm not jumping for joy for spring training home runs. I'm just not. The same reason why I'm not jumping for joy for Brett Beatty having a 1,200 OPS. I just don't care. I just don't. Like, I don't care about the numbers. I like these guys. Look, I don't want to see somebody go 0 for 32 in spring. Like Francisco Lindor. Doesn't look good at the plate, but he never looks good in spring training. So I don't know what to expect. He's probably going to start off slow in April again, like he's always done in his entire career. So I know Ken talked about it in the chat about Lindor. Again, look at his career. His worst month is always April. It's just what he is. Maybe playing in a dome the first 6 games of the year, you don't have to play in the cold weather, might help him. I don't know. But when a guy has been in the league, 8-9 years now, and every April you struggle and he starts off slow, I don't know what to expect. Like, if he would be good during April, he could put up MVP numbers like he did last year, and he didn't start getting going until almost the end of April. The end of May, excuse me. So I don't know what to think when it comes to Francisco Lindor. He's just a slow starter, and he's been like that into his entire career. So at 30 years old now, 30 years old, I don't think he's going to change what he's going to be. So, well, Stan, let's hope they're not 22 and 33. All right, let's hope, because we always you never know, right? That's why baseball is a beautiful sport, because you just don't know, right? The 2023 Mets were supposed to be a very good team, and they ended up not being a very good team. Yeah, with the injuries, yeah, with the lack of production, but it wasn't good when they were projected to basically win a division or at least be a playoff team, and they weren't. So I don't go just based on, we don't think the Mets are going to go 22 and 33, but we don't know that. We don't know. Just because you got Juan Soto doesn't mean it's going to be sunshine and rainbows here. I think it will be fine. I always say this. If you have I like to start off strong, right? I say if you can be between 5 and 10 games, let me not go crazy, but let's say between 5 and 10 games over 500 going into May, you have wiggle room to not do as well in May because you have that 5 to 10 game over 500 record, where if you have a 500 May, you still have a similar record than what you had in April, being 5 to 10 games over 500. That's the key here, right? Because you can have a little bit of a struggled month and not, fall into the abyss like the Mets did last year. You can't have 5 to 10 game under 500 month, but it protects you if you happen to do so. And then, usually, the June swoon for the New York Mets was a problem. It wasn't last year, but for the last 5 years, it's been a problem. Even in 2022, it was a problem. So you just have to look at it in different. I like to put the season in sections because I think it's important. But I'd like to see the Mets get off to a good start. Not only is it because I think the rotation needs to start off well. If you start off well, the feeling around the team, the excitement around the team is different, right? Before I moved out in New York, I went to the first 5 games of the season at Citi Field. It was, I mean, it didn't feel like they were even playing baseball. It was so sad until we won that game in extra innings to go 1-5 against Milwaukee and Detroit. Like, you got to get everybody around the team excited. The team, the organization, the fans, because again, we know how April is. You play the first 6 games on the road in dome stadiums in Houston and Miami, and then you come home to play the Toronto Blue Jays, so you get a homestand right after that. I want to, because it's hard playing the first 6 games on the road, because if you have a bad road trip, yeah, the excitement and opening day is there, but you kind of lose that mojo. But if you go 5-1 on the road trip coming back home, the place is going to be jumping. You want to get it going a little bit. You want to get the excitement going. You don't want to lose that excitement right out of the gate. And then you get in, you end up 500 or 2-4 on the road trip, and you come to Citi Field, and it's kind of like, it's excitement because it's opening day, but it's still like, oh, they're not playing so well. Maybe the pitch is not well. The offense doesn't look good. The bullpen might not look good. Something, we don't want complaints right away. And I do think the fact that this is the way I think it should go doesn't mean necessarily will go that way. So, to finish up the stream, guys, because it's only going to be a quick stream. I got to go to work in a few hours. Good news for seeing Starr and Marte in the lineup. Nice ovation from Met fans. Great. Mark Vientos said it's the second home run of the spring. Juan Soto, another home run, 3 on the spring training season, so to speak. 2 for 3 there. You had Jesse Winker with a hit, McNeil with a hit, a double, and an RBI. You got Luis Torrens hitting a home run. Nice to see. Jose Siri got a hit. Griffin Canning was a star of the show. 3 2/3, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, no runs, 2 walks. Good outing by him. Ryan Stanek struggled a tad walking people. Brazaben struggled a little bit, but overall, nice to see a possible opening day lineup looking good. And I like to see that, scoring 8 runs today. Nice. Again, some of the runs were against Sonny Gray, even though it's his second outing of the spring, and he hasn't pitched well in his first outing and definitely not in the second outing. But he is a major league pitcher. He is one of their top guys in the rotation for the Cardinals. So good to see that, getting good hits off an actual really good pitcher in Sonny Gray. So we'll see what goes on, guys. But I do feel like the 5th spot in the rotation is going to come down to Max Kranick and Griffin Canning. I think one of those 2 guys are going to make the rotation, and it's going to be between one of those guys and McGill to be the long man in the bullpen. So, guys, with that said, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to a very quick Mets post-game show right here on the channel. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Can't wait to get started for the season. It's still 2 weeks away. You get a little antsy. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to pack my bags and get to Houston already. I'm ready to go. I need to go. I need some real baseball in my life. I know you guys want that as well. But with that said, guys, make sure to hit that like button. Have a good night, guys. Let's go Mets. And I'll see you next time on the Mets post-game show right here on the channel. Have a good night, guys. Let's go Mets.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed